1972 and 1992. He led the Christian Democrat Party, which dominated Italian politics for decades. He was dogged in later years by allegations of corruption and mafia links. He had been seriously ill for some time, the Italian newspaper La Repubblica reports. Mr. Andreotti entered the Italian parliament in 1946 and remained there for more than 60 years. He was reputed to have met the Pope as an 8-year-old after sneaking away from a Vatican tour group. He became a junior minister at the age of 28 and went on to serve as either prime minister or a senior minister in the many Christian democratic governments that held power during the volatile period.
Well, we'll move on to other stories now. At least 10 people have died and more than 60 injured in a violent clash between Islamist protesters and police in Dhaka, the capital of Bangladesh. The Islamic group wants greater segregation of men and women, as well as the imposition of stricter Islamic education. The movement draws its strength from the country's religious schools, while the government, which describes Bangladesh as a secular democracy, has rejected the group's demand for a new law on blasphemy. Police used stun grenades and rubber bullets to disperse a Sunday protest organized by the group. This comes days after over 500 people died in a garment factory collapse in Rana Plaza, also in Dhaka. And looking through our sports stories at this hour, Edo State Governor Adams Oshiomhole has commended organizers of the just concluded 10 kilometers of Pepe Road race in the state, saying the race brought recognition to the community and proved that rural areas in the country can stage hitch-free mountain race that meets international standards.
The state governor, who competed in the race and finished in the 131st position ahead of some local athletes, said more will be done to ensure such competitions continue in order to boost the economic drive of indigents in the rural community.
And they have been forgotten over the years. For me, they are the best because I'm a rural guy. This is my small village, only one fully boat. And you have villages like this all over Nigeria. And those who have gone to Ogope today, they've seen that there are real Nigerians. I'm sure those Ethiopians, those Kenyans, Ugandans who participate, they will see that a typical small village can boast of such quality of road. And I think it's a good message to take back to their own country. That, you know, Nigeria is not just Lagos and Abuja. So that there are things happening in the hinterland, even people in the hamlet get it. And then for the rural people, like you said, they see ministers coming to visit. They see sportsmen and women. They've seen big people who ordinarily they've never seen before.
Well, in football, Juventus players celebrated with their fans in Turin after winning a Serie A for the second season running, clinching the title with a 1-0 win over Palermo. Arturo Vidal converted a 59-minute penalty to leave Juventus with an unassailable 14-point lead over second place Napoli. Many fans waited for the team outside the stadium to greet the bus carrying its huge banner with the number 31. That's the number of league titles the Turin-based side claimed to have won, despite the revocation of two of their titles, of their wins in 2005 and 2006 after the Calciopoli match-fixing scandal. Hundreds of fans dressed in the Juventus colors, black and white, gathered in the center of town to rejoice with their team as the open-top bus arrived. Waving flags and banners and beating car and motorbike horns, the revelers produced an excited party except for their heroes as they arrived at the city center. Some of the team was also celebrating. That's Ajax Amsterdam, who is celebrating their 32nd Dutch league title after a 5-0 thrashing of relegated Willem II Tilburg, which gave them a 4-point lead over PSV Eindhoven with one match remaining. Ajax, who secured their third league victory under former player Frank de Boer, paraded their trophy on top of a bus near the Amsterdam Arena before appearing on stage in front of an estimated crowd of 50,000 cheering fans. The team, who all wore jerseys bearing the number 32, took it in turns to hold the trophy and acknowledge their supporters. Ajax did not get the top spot in the Eredivisie until March, with PSV Eindhoven making much of the running earlier in the season. "32 titles and still counting." Well, that's where we end sports news today.
And News Track. Thank you for watching. I am Adeshewa Josh.
And I'm Neil Taimbi.
Up next is View from the Top. Hello and welcome. This is View from the Top. I am Modile Sharafaisov and I'm glad that you could join us. Today I'll be speaking with the Executive Governor of Delta State, Dr. Emmanuel Uduaghan. Your Excellency, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
Let me start by asking you, has Nigeria solved the problem of the Niger Delta? Is amnesty enough?
Amnesty is not enough. Has Nigeria solved the problem of the Niger Delta? Partially, to some extent. But the reason for the crisis that occurred in Niger Delta has not yet been solved. Now, the problem of inclusion, the problem of development, both human capital and infrastructure development, those are still not yet solved. Well, there are plans by various strata of government, on the federal, state, and local government to do things in that area. In fact, within this week, yes, the Niger Delta Council meeting is going on in New York, and I think by Friday, Mr. President will go and inaugurate the council, which I think is very structured that we fast track the development have been put in place at the various levels of government to develop the Niger Delta. But it's going to be a long-term process. It's not a short-term one. But at least we are going to see that things are happening. We do hope the things that are happening will be seen to fruition.
Bunkering has taken over the resting in the Niger Delta, and some have suggested that government should legitimize the illegal refineries to tackle the problem. What do you think?
Well, I think I was one of the first advocates of legitimizing illegal refineries by doing two things. Two things is to look at the technology they are using. Can we not improve on the technology? And I think the answer is yes. Now, why am I confident that we can improve on it? We had what we used to call illicit gig in those days. Ogogoro. People were being arrested for producing illicit gin. And what happened? This is the same